Every financial advisor on the internet wants to put you in a Roth IRA. Every personal finance video tells you the Roth is the smartest move. Every friend who reads money articles has an opinion about how Roth contributions are the key to a tax-free retirement. And if you have been listening to that advice, if you have been making Roth contributions, paying taxes on your money now, and watching your after-tax dollars go into an account that promises you tax-free withdrawals later, there is a reasonable chance that you have been making the wrong move for your specific situation without knowing it. This is not an argument against Roth IRAs. Roth IRAs are genuinely powerful for the right person in the right situation at the right time. But the financial media has spent so much energy explaining why Roth accounts are better than traditional accounts that it has largely stopped asking a more important question. Better for whom? Under what circumstances? And most critically, better compared to what? Exactly. Over what specific time horizon? For a person with your actual income, your actual tax situation, and your actual retirement timeline. The case for a Roth IRA rests on a single prediction. The prediction is that your tax rate in retirement will be higher than your tax rate today. If you pay taxes on your contributions now at your current rate, and your withdrawals in retirement are tax-free, then you come out ahead if and only if the rate you avoided paying later was higher than the rate you paid earlier. That prediction seems intuitive when you are young, early in your career, and earning relatively little. Your tax bracket is low. Retirement is decades away. Tax rates in the future are uncertain. Paying a modest rate now to lock in tax-free growth for 30 years seems obviously correct. And for that specific person, young, low income, decades from retirement, the Roth often is the right choice. But most of the seniors watching this video are not that person. And the advice built for that person is being applied wholesale to a population for whom the core assumption that your tax rate will be higher in retirement may simply not be true. Consider what retirement actually looks like for most Americans in 2026. You stop receiving wages. Your earned income drops to zero or near zero. Your income in retirement comes from Social Security, portions of which may or may not be taxable depending on your total income. From pension distributions if you have them. From required minimum distributions from traditional retirement accounts, and from any investment income your portfolio generates. For most middle-class retirees, the sum of those income sources produces a taxable income that is lower than their working year income. Not always dramatically lower, but lower. And if your actual retirement income places you in the 12% tax bracket, a bracket that currently applies to single filers with taxable income up to $47,150 in 2026, then the prediction that justified your Roth contributions when you were making those contributions may have been wrong. You paid taxes on your Roth contributions at a rate that assumed your retirement bracket would be higher. If it turned out to be lower or even the same, the Roth did not outperform the alternative. It performed the same at best and potentially worse once you account for the tax break you did not take on the traditional contribution. The traditional IRA deduction is one of the most underutilized tax benefits available to working Americans, and it is being underutilized in large part because the Roth narrative has dominated financial media for long enough that many people have forgotten the traditional option exists. For a full deductibility of a traditional IRA contribution is available to covered individuals whose modified adjusted gross income is $81,000 or less as a single filer in 2026. Below that threshold, every dollar you contribute to a traditional IRA reduces your taxable income dollar for dollar right now. If you are in the 22% tax bracket and you contribute $7,500 to a traditional IRA, you reduce your federal tax bill by $1,650 in the year you make the contribution. That money, $1,650, does not go to the government. It stays in your account It grows alongside your contribution. And when you eventually withdraw it in retirement, at whatever rate applies at that time, you have had the use of that $1,650 for every year between now and then. The Roth contribution does not give you that. The Roth contribution requires you to hand that $1,650 to the government today in exchange for a promise that your withdrawals will be tax-free in the future. Whether that trade benefits you depends entirely on whether your future tax rate turns out to be higher than your current one. And for a significant portion of American retirees, it does not. Here is the scenario that financial planners call the tax bracket arbitrage, and it is the scenario in which choosing a traditional IRA over a Roth produces the clearest mathematical advantage. You are currently working and your income places you in the 22% or 24% federal tax bracket. You expect your retirement income to be meaningfully lower than your current working income because you will no longer have wages because your Social Security alone does not fully replace your salary and because you do not have a large pension that will maintain your income at current levels. In that scenario, the traditional IRA deduction saves you 22 or 24 cents on every dollar you contribute today. Your retirement withdrawals are taxed at whatever rate applies to your retirement income. If that rate turns out to be 12%, which is a realistic outcome for many middle-class retirees, you have saved a net 10 to 12 cents per dollar on every dollar you ever contributed to the traditional account. Over a lifetime of contributions, that difference is not trivial. On $7,500 per year of contributions over 20 years, the difference between paying 22% now and withdrawing at 12% later amounts to a tax savings of $15,000 compounded at whatever your account earns over that period. That is money that stayed in your account and grew rather than going to the government when you made the contribution. The income limits on Roth contributions are also a factor that receives far less attention than they deserve in the mainstream Roth narrative. In 2026, single filers must make less than $153,000 to contribute to a Roth IRA, and married couples filing jointly must make less than $242,000. Above those thresholds, Roth contributions are prohibited, completely, not phased out, prohibited, which means that for a significant portion of Americans whose income exceeds those limits and who have been directed toward Roth accounts by financial media that does not account for income restrictions, the Roth IRA is not even an available option. The traditional IRA does not have income restrictions on contributions. Anyone with earned income can contribute regardless of how much they make. Deductibility phases out at higher incomes if you have a workplace retirement plan, but the contribution itself is always available. For high earners who cannot contribute directly to a Roth, the traditional IRA combined with a backdoor Roth conversion is sometimes recommended. But the backdoor strategy has its own complexity, its own risks, and its own income implications that make it far from the simple, automatic choice that most financial media presents it as being. The required minimum distribution question is the one that the Roth advocates most consistently use to justify the Roth's advantages. And it is a legitimate point that deserves honest engagement rather than dismissal. Traditional IRAs require you to start taking required minimum distributions at age 73, with that age scheduled to increase to 75 in 2033. Those distributions are taxable. They arrive whether you need the money or not. They can push your modified adjusted gross income above IRMAA thresholds, trigger additional Social Security taxation, and create a tax cascade in years when you did not plan for additional income. Roth IRAs have no required minimum distributions for the original account owner. You can let the money grow indefinitely. You can pass the account to heirs who have 10 years to draw it down under current inheritance rules. These are real advantages that the Roth provides and that the traditional account does not. But the value of those advantages depends entirely on how large your traditional account balance becomes, how your retirement income interacts with the IRMAA thresholds, and whether the required minimum distribution problem was predictable enough in advance to justify paying higher taxes on contributions made before the problem materialized. For a person who contributes modestly to a traditional IRA over a working lifetime and whose retirement income is comfortably below the IRMAA thresholds, the required minimum distribution from that account may be a manageable annual income event rather than a tax crisis. The catastrophic version of the required minimum distribution problem, the one that drives massive IRMAA surcharges and Social Security taxation spikes, tends to occur in accounts with very large balances, typically from decades of maximal contributions to employer-sponsored plans rather than the modest annual contributions a traditional IRA accommodates. Let us talk about the situation in which a Roth IRA genuinely outperforms the traditional alternative. Because the goal of this video is not to argue that Roth accounts are bad. The goal is to argue that the blanket recommendation of Roth over traditional that dominates financial media fails to account for the specific circumstances that determine which account actually serves a given person better. The Roth outperforms the traditional when your current tax rate is lower than your expected retirement tax rate. This is most reliably true for young people early in their careers, for people who expect significant income growth over their working years, for people who already have very large traditional retirement account balances that will generate large required minimum distributions, and for people whose retirement income from pensions and other sources will be high enough to keep them in a substantial tax bracket throughout retirement. It is also true for the specific window of low-income years that many retirees experience between leaving their final job and the start of their Social Security benefit, a period when income is temporarily depressed and Roth conversions can be executed at the lowest marginal rates a person may ever see again. But that conversion window is a specific strategic deployment of the Roth concept, not a blanket endorsement of Roth contributions over traditional contributions during the working years that preceded it. The $6,000 senior bonus deduction that Congress created in 2025 and that is now in effect through 2028 adds another dimension to this calculation that most people discussing Roth versus traditional in 2026 have not yet accounted for. The deduction reduces taxable income for seniors 65 and older by up to $6,000 before the standard deduction is applied. For a retiree drawing from a traditional IRA, that additional $6,000 deduction reduces the taxable portion of their traditional withdrawals at whatever their current marginal rate is. For a retiree drawing from a Roth IRA, the deduction has no effect on their withdrawals because Roth withdrawals are already tax-free, which means that the $6,000 senior bonus deduction is, in a meaningful sense, an additional benefit that accrues to traditional account holders in retirement and that partially offsets the tax deferral cost they incurred during their working years. A traditional IRA holder in retirement who claims the standard deduction, the existing extra senior deduction, and the new $6,000 bonus deduction has a substantial amount of income sheltered before any federal tax applies to their withdrawals. That shelter was not available when the Roth advocates made their predictions about how advantageous tax-free withdrawals would be in retirement. The tax landscape has changed. The analysis has to change with it. The honest answer to whether you probably do not need a Roth IRA is the same honest answer that applies to virtually every personal finance question. It depends. It depends on your current tax bracket. It depends on your expected retirement income. It depends on whether you have a pension, how large your Social Security benefit will be, what state you live in, and what state income tax you will owe in retirement, whether you have large enough traditional balances to generate a required minimum distribution problem, and whether the specific years of your retirement include low-income windows where strategic conversions make more sense than steady contributions did during your working years. What it does not depend on is the default assumption that the Roth is always better, because that assumption was built for a specific type of person in a specific financial situation, and the financial media applied it universally without asking whether it actually fits yours. The most important thing you can do with the information in this video is not switch all of your contributions to traditional IRAs immediately. It is to run the actual calculation for your specific situation. Model your expected retirement income. Project your retirement tax bracket. Compare the value of the deduction you could take today against the tax you will owe on traditional withdrawals at that future rate. And if the numbers favor the traditional account, if your current bracket is meaningfully higher than your projected retirement bracket, choose the tool that actually benefits you, not the one that benefits the imaginary average person that financial media was writing for when it told you to choose the Roth. Before this video ends, 3 things to do this week. Pull out your most recent tax return and find your effective federal tax rate for the year. Not your marginal rate, your effective rate, the actual percentage of your total income that went to federal taxes. That number is your baseline for the Roth versus traditional comparison. Second, use a retirement income estimator to project what your taxable income will actually be in retirement from Social Security, pension, and any required minimum distribution from accounts you already have. Compare the tax rate that would apply to that income against your current effective rate. If the retirement rate is lower, the traditional account math favors you more than the Roth narrative suggests. Third, if you are currently in a low income window, recently retired, Social Security not yet started, required minimum distributions not yet begun, model what a partial Roth conversion would cost at your current rate and what it would save in reduced future required minimum distributions and IRMAA exposure. That calculation is the specific situation where the Roth most clearly earns its reputation. Every other situation deserves a real analysis rather than a default recommendation made for someone else's financial profile.